Hello there, my friends. So, I had a wonderful experience yesterday. I don't know if you know this or not. Yesterday was National Submarine Day, April 11th. I was told that's because that is when the government took possession or bought a submarine for the first time in 1900. And check me on that. I'm sure if I'm wrong, somebody will tell me in the comment section, which is totally fine. I am not a veteran, but I was at a veterans breakfast yesterday with two of my friends. One is a retired Air Force colonel, and the other is a retired Navy pilot, fighter pilot. And so they invited me to this breakfast, which was fantastic. It cost $16, number one, which is great because where can you get breakfast for $16 anymore? But anyway, it was at the Carnegie Science Center. It was on the third floor in a private room that they use for meetings. It has a beautiful panoramic view of the river and the point. If you don't know Pittsburgh, there are two rivers which form to make one. So there's the Allegheny River and the Monongahela River, and they form the Ohio River at a point in the center of the city of Pittsburgh. So you're able to see that. We're seeing barges go up and down the river. It's early April, so obviously there weren't a lot of water skiers or pleasure boaters out. It was rainy, but a very nice view. But the highlight for me was, oh, by the way, they also included a tour of the submarine. We have a World War II era submarine called the USS Requin, which means shark in French, that has been there, I was told now, for 30 some years we've had this, and you can tour it very cheaply, but they were going to include that in the price. I did not go down there because I got caught up in a conversation. There was a gentleman that was in the, there were a lot of people that were wearing different kinds of vests and some insignia and things of that nature to represent a club that they belong to, a Submariners club. But there was one person who was wearing a very old uniform. And so I said to my Air Force friend, I said, do you think he would go and mind if I went over and asked him if I could take a picture? And he said, oh, I don't think he mind at all. So I did. The gentleman was an older gentleman. He was walking back from the buffet. So I wanted to get him before he sat down. So I did, because I know, mobility issues, how hard it can be getting up and down. Turns out he's 94 years old. His uniform is from 1946 to 1951, he said, like that era. So really distinctive. And I asked him about, his service. And he said, well, I did a lot of stuff that was classified, so I can't talk about all of it. He says, I know I can talk about some of it, but I don't remember which parts are classified and which parts aren't classified, so I end up not talking about any of it. To which, I said, that's fantastic. And I told a story about one of my favorite stories about Christopher Lee. He was the actor who played Count Dooku in the Star Wars movies. He played Dracula many times. But Christopher Lee was being interviewed by I think it was a British reporter, about his efforts in the war. And it is known that Christopher Lee was in the Balkan Theater and did some special operations, let's say. So that's what this interviewer wanted to know about. And he said, can you tell me about what you did in the war? And Christopher Lee said, can you keep a secret? And the reporter said, yes. He said, so Christopher Lee said, so can I. So anyway, I those guys liked the story. There was another gentleman that was sitting there, John, with his friend. He was kind of like, I guess he driven him there, accompanied him. But I was asking the 94-year-old gentleman about his service, and it turns out that during the program, the host, the MC, went around, and this gentleman's service was documented in a book. And he said that they had gone in undercover to North Korea during the Korean War, and they were going to they blew up a bridge, and they were getting out, and they were ambushed by 16 North Koreans. There were 6 of these soldiers, I think, or 8. I can't remember the exact numbers. Got confused, but anyway, they got into hand-to-hand combat, and the 94-year-old gentleman said he has a scar in his forearm where he deflected a North Korean bayonet, which ended up in his leg. He said he had holes here, here, and here. He said when he got married, his wife saw all his scars on his back, and she said, how'd you get all those scars? And he said, barbed wire. But on the night of this particular mission in 1951, he was there. It just went wrong, and everybody got hurt. And so he and another, they called them frogmen back then. They would be Navy SEALs now. He took one of his wounded comrades, compatriots, and he took him back to the boat, which was the submarine. So they swam back to the boat on his back with the wounded man across his chest, swimming back to the boat. He was wounded, right? He's meritorious, obviously, conduct. He got a Purple Heart 2 years ago, in 2022. Even though this happened, because I assume because the mission had been classified, and so there was, they didn't just, they were able to award him the Purple Heart, after it was declassified. But unbelievable stuff. I mean, just to how amazing it was to meet this person who had done so much for his country and for his squad mates, and just unbelievable. But there's story after story like this. I mean, his is the standout story for me because I actually met him. I actually went up and talked to him. But really awesome dude, just great, gracious guy. What a great way to spend submarine day for me as a civilian. If I get invited to more of these veterans breakfasts, I'm gonna go because I heard some amazing stories. There was a U.S. representative that was there as well. He was leaving though to go to a funeral of a soldier who was disinterred 3 times to try to identify him. They finally identified him using modern techniques. He was a World War II soldier and being laid to rest in a cemetery that's nearby. His service, he signed up in 2001, in the summer of 2001, and then of course 9/11 happened, so he changed his assignment. He requested his assignment to be changed to infantry. He was a Marine infantry, and he was in the 2nd Marine Infantry Unit going in. They ended up going in 2003 during the war, and he told some harrowing stories about shells hitting vehicles in front of him, and just amazing service, amazing stuff. I'm very humbled by that. It was incredible. So amazing to be in the presence of these men. And also I ran into an old friend that I've known for 38 years, and that I just haven't talked to him in the last last year, because I used to see him where I worked, and I don't work there anymore. And so he and I ran it. I thought, he was a submariner. He was one of the, he used to talk about his service, and we used to talk about these things all the time. And so now we're back. We made contact with each other, and we're gonna go out to lunch. So that's great. I mean, it was just a great day all around. I highly recommend the Carnegie Science Center, number 1. Talk to a vet. If they're willing to talk to you, give them room to tell their stories. And that's the other thing. This MC was really great. He's also a civilian, but he's kind of the organizer of this veterans club. He has family that's been in the military. But he would ask questions, but he was humble enough to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I've heard from other vets. And tell me if clarify this for me. And he allowed us to ask questions too. And it was just a great day. So yeah, I don't know what else to say except thanks. If you're a vet, thanks. And yeah, I hope people listen to your story. So I hope you have a great day out there. Go make it a good one, and see if you can help somebody today. Take care.